Ladies and gentlemen, we ready?
Absolutely.
I say, yo, y'all already know who it is, man. It's Chris Jackson, Prince Up Top, last real nigga alive. We about to get up close and personal with my nigga Big Business. He's by way of company with my nigga Scoob. Scoobalicious was good.
What's up?
And my nigga B Blaze. Blaze, what's good?
What up, though?
First and foremost, I appreciate y'all sliding through, fucking with the motherfucking platform, man. So, most importantly, let's give it up for y'all self, man. All right, so we ain't gonna waste no motherfucking time. Man, look, Big Business, I appreciate you sliding through. It's always a pleasure. I see you brought some company with you. You want to go ahead and just give us the rundown on who you got with you, bro?
Well, just to let the people know out there, we're in Man Cave Studios, owner and operator, Scooby-Doo here to my left-hand side. So a lot of magic has been going on in here. So we just want to talk about that. One of the key, pretty much key MVP players of the mixtape experience, the mixtape and the movie. B Blaze, no other, Mr. Hype himself, and of course myself, and you know, again, we're here to talk about it a little bit, so we can really run it.
All right, that's what's up. And you know, I know all of these guys here, so I mean, it feels like some great chemistry we're about to get into, man. We're gonna rewind the clock a little bit, you know, because I mean, we're seeing Big Business, the entity, but before Big Business, you know, you was once a rapper. You know what I'm saying? So, kind of take me down memory lane a little bit and how you sort of got into the rapping portion of it.
Well, I mean, I don't talk much about that portion of, so you asking the question, I don't touch on much because, again, the more you talk about something, the more they remember you for it. And I'll be saying, first and foremost, I want to be known for clear vision, because what I learned by doing the music was you ended up having to do things in some situations for a certain audience. And for me, I always wanted to be a person who kind of just did what he was passionate about. And from a commercial standpoint, I had some success, but some of the things I wanted to make music about wouldn't necessarily be the thing that would be selling on the radio, even though I did have a few songs on the radio. Started out with a group called The Hierarchy. A guy used to, a Puerto Rican guy named Sweet C, and I've always done Big Business spelled the right way. So
talk about it.
We did some things, and you know, we got played on the radio, and then ultimately when it came to taking it to the next level, honestly, it kind of inspired part of the things I make music or movies about. Because when it comes to that level where it's like, okay, what are you gonna do next? Okay, we're here, we're getting radio play, what do you want to do next? And at that particular point in time, he wanted radio rotation, but he didn't want to hit the road and he didn't want to tour. And to me, that's like saying I want to swim without getting wet. Those two things don't go together. But there's a lot of pressures associated with being an artist, and some people want to shine but don't want to grind. So I went solo. And as a solo artist, I also got played on the radio a few times, internet radio, local radio in different parts of Florida. And then at that point, I came to the same point, had a song that was kind of popping. So called.
Care to mention that? Yeah, talk about it.
So at that point in time, you know, you have to be careful what you're known for, because a lot of times that's what people continue to look for from you. So at that particular point, really, it was more like to just show people, like, just because I haven't done that don't mean I can't do it. Because my style was called Christian rap. Yeah, I'm a Christian, but that doesn't mean I can't talk about other things. I can talk about love. I can talk about what's going on in the club, and that's what Control Freak was. It was a song for the club, and it was talking about situations dealing with women, and it started to take off. But then I said, okay, do I really want to go down this road, or am I just using my abilities to diversify what I'm known for? And I said, yeah. I said, I looked at a couple different options. I said, yeah, I want to use my voice for something different. So I made a conscious decision to kind of go into the journalism world with transition talks and different things of that nature. And I'll let you ask questions. I don't want to just.
Well, I mean, you pretty much let me know. I mean, you lead the interview because I mean, I know you got a lot of shit to get off your chest. But I'm glad you actually brought up, you know, the topic of you know, having more so of like the Christian rap. At this point in time when you were rapping, there wasn't a lot of artists that was giving this kind of content and substance. Ultimately, I felt like, you know, a lot of people in the city wasn't doing this kind of music, so
True.
Anything that's new, they shun it. You know what I'm saying? Because they don't understand it. You brought this up, and I want to kind of ask you: were you raised in a church household? Did your parents go to church?
I would say that definitely. You know, my parents were. They've been married for 56 years.
Oh man!
So I mean,
yes, sir.
They were teenagers when they met and got together. So family's always been important, and definitely came from very religious households, and you know, just they had values, and especially in the music industry when it comes to this hip hop, values are going to get tested because people are going to try to look to you for something similar to what they're hearing in a different place. And for the most part, I knew one of my college friends helped me have a paradigm shift. He said, you know, when it comes to business or entertainment, generally it's one or two things. You can try to be what the people want, or you can give them what they want. But if you give them what they want, you can still slide in with some of what they need.
Right.
So for me, I say, well, I'd rather do giving them what they want and giving them some of what they need as well. As an artist, I did that to a degree, but again, you kind of see the writing on the wall in terms of a larger impact. So that's honestly why B-Blaze and Scooby are here, because you can scream a message by yourself, but if you have, you know, people with you, brothers with you, who have a different message, but y'all can get on the same page about a few things, you're gonna have a stronger effect, you're gonna have a stronger voice, and people are inspired by that.
And you know what, I like the fact that you brought up, you know, being raised with values, morals, you know, principles. Just my relationship with you, I know you kind of, you know, you really hold on to that in every aspect of it, not just, you know, the music, but in everything. Has those same principles helped you along the way when it comes down to the entertainment side of this?
I'll say in terms of, I've had different shifts in terms of determining what I would choose to be dedicated to. I never was dedicated to being popular, because if you prioritize popularity, you start not growing based upon doing what's popular. I've always tried to grow and evolve in whatever I do, and part of that is being passionate about what you do.
Right.
So I try to get with people who have and it might be slightly different. You know, with Scooby was always passionate about making music, so much the way he made his own studio, and he couldn't live without music.
Right.
It was always a driving force with him. And as I was doing certain things, he's worked closely with me, not just on the Music Mixtape Weekend, which was made here in Man Cave Studios. Some of these movie projects that I've been working on, he's been the go-to guy in terms of the voice narration, some of the voice editing that takes place in some of these films that have been put in the movie theater, because he's always growing as well, and a hard worker. You know, with B-Blaze, it's one of those things again. very versatile as a lyricist, and is always energetic and a hard worker, and just overall somebody who's just consistent. And when you get around people who are consistent, it's like a breath of fresh air when you've been underwater, because you don't get it a lot. You get people who talk for a while and do a little bit and see what they can get and try to get the bag, and then they change into what is more convenient and comfortable. And that might rub some people the wrong way, but it's just the truth.
I'm glad you brought that up, as far as like rubbing people the wrong way. And I imagine that still kind of come with, you know, your principles, your values, your morals. I mean, I know a lot of people can't, you know, stand the same as, you know, you will in certain situations. Did you kind of get the name Big Business because of the relationships that you kind of built in this shit, to where you felt like when it came down to business, you mean business?
Well, I knew when I stepped into doing music, I didn't want to. I had to say and name myself something that kind of fit my persona. And for me, you know, when you have to misspell or mispronounce what you're about and explain it, it kind of takes away from the value of it. And for me, I'm like, big business is the aim.
Straight to the point.
Straight to the point. Let's talk about what we need to talk about and move forward from there. If we don't have anything to talk about, what we here for?
I mean, aside from you being fucking 6'11" and shit, you know what I'm saying? The Big Business was kind of play on words.
A little bit.
So just to make the transition from music to movies, you have a plethora of like shit under your belt when it comes down to filming. Talk about the process and how you kind of start when it comes down to selecting a film, the ideas of a film, the writing of a film, who you want for the cast. Like, kind of talk about that process.
Well, I'm gonna get a little unlaid back on this particular part, because the truth of the matter is this: when you do something at a high level, it's really considered art. And what part of the problem with music right now is people aren't trying to necessarily make art, they're trying to get views. And when you're a person who takes what you do, like B-Blaze, like Scooby, when you take time and do what you're doing and really put your heart and soul into something, and something that's gimmicky or less effort was put into it, and I'm not saying what genre or see, y'all want to break things down. And
you know I'm finna go there.
This type of music versus this. It's not about that. It's about you know quality. When you hear quality, if you don't know what quality is, what do you hear in the background? You know what I'm saying? Are the vocals clean? You know, things like, do you have to curse every line? Every line, bro, that's a lack of vocabulary. Like, let's just be honest.
Talk about it.
And if that hurts your feelings, I mean, you go get a thesaurus. Because English language is a language, man.
Right.
It's a language, man. And when you see movies, you know, that's what really drew me towards it, because it allows people to have a bigger canvas, and you can incorporate things like the soundtrack, or you can incorporate things like a dialogue that, you know, brings in different elements of societal aspects of why people are the way they are. And they're not tied to that. Like, if B-Blaze is in a movie and he plays a character, he don't have to be that character for the next 15 years to be credible.
Right.
And unfortunately, in music, you get hot with one song, they want the same thing from you over and over again. You can finish a movie project. Right now, we're working on a music-related, you know, project that's going to be in theaters November 12th, Music Tour Life. You talk about music, but there's something else coming out that ain't talking about music. It's talking about life with mental health, and it's also talking about, you know, taking care of yourself and understanding that the roads in life sometimes split, that you have to make decisions based upon what you want for yourself, what are you prioritizing. But the audience for movies is different than the audience for music. You got 4 minutes to say what you want to. You spend $2,000, $3,000 on a video, make it look cool, and then you waiting for pennies on the dollar for streams. There's a lack of appreciation there. When it comes to a movie, People paying $10. People sitting down, getting comfortable. Their attention span changes. It's just a different field of entry.
Right.
And you asked about, the connection with the music. How I started the transition to the movies is I saw talented artists who are doing music who are, if you're getting on stage and performing and showing these people your heart and your soul, we're all actors, first of all, but we all got to play a part. We all got to play a part, and what messes up with a lot of people is you may be the main actor in your life, but you ain't the main actor in every show you play a part in.
That's good.
So you're gonna have to learn how to play different roles. B Blaze can play different roles from an acting perspective, from a musical perspective, from a real life, G perspective. If he has to switch roles, he has no problem changing hats and doing what is needed to be done. And that's what I love about this man, because most people are not able to switch roles without some type of emotional fallout. And for me, I'm just like, I'm solution-based thinking. I understand that we might not think the same, but if we can't find a solution quick, what are we here for?
Now, with I'm glad you kind of brought up like people not being consistent as far as being their follow through.
Sure.
Have you had any relationships that kind of went sour due to lack of follow through and commitment? And just kind of talk about your process when picking people to work with, so that way you kind of know what level of commitment that you're getting from the start. Like, how do you go through that process of picking who you want to work with?
Well, I'll say at this particular point, because there's been some changes in how I kind of select people, because I watch people longer. I think in the beginning, when I started trying to select people to work with, it was based upon the music principle. If you hear somebody spit a hot verse and see them talented in terms of performing, you use that as an idea of they have the talent.
Right.
And then that had a heavier influence in who you work with as a musician. You want to work with talented musicians, but you don't necessarily know their work ethic when it comes to interpersonal relationships until you're in that situation, or unless you talk to somebody who's worked with them. So that was a different standard compared to, say, like a movie. That's multiple days. That's promoting the project. That's being devoted to the process.
Right.
And I would say this: most people don't like the process if it's long, because they wake up trying to justify, should I continue to do it? And I get that if you don't have vision. And a lot of times people really don't tell you their expectations until it goes away from what they expected.
Right.
So that leaves it to where you're always in a position of power because you didn't confront this head up. You're watching in the sit and get mentality. I'm gonna sit here and wait and see what I get till I express displeasure. So that approach, mentally, it puts you in a position of power. But what it does is it drains a project because you're not putting your all into it. You're holding something back because you're using that energy to analyze and really slowing things down because you're not diving in. You know what I'm saying? If you got a verse, when you're in music, you're trying to body it. Now the same thing from an acting perspective. If you know your lane. Why are you asking
good
about this aspect and the lighting and that's not your role. You're not behind the camera. How are you gonna be in front of the camera, performing behind the camera, talking about the lighting, and then questioning the lines that are written here on a piece of paper?
Right.
You have people who do that because they want to learn from you, but they don't know a better way of going about it. They want to do what you're doing, and then do what they do.
I mean, a lot of that happens in Tampa, and I'm sure it happens everywhere else. But people just think that, if they see anybody shooting movies, they can like, fuck it, I can grab a camera and just start shooting movies. Like, they don't fall in love with the process.
Right.
And, I know you fell in love with the process because you have so much fucking workout. You know what I'm saying? Like you have a lot of work. So when you talk about, solution-based thinking, a lot of that, is it predicated off of just like your work ethic? Is that why you came with the solution-based thinking, because of your work ethic, that you like, you know what, this doesn't work, let me find a solution. This doesn't work, let me find a solution. Like, how did you come up with coining the term solution-based thinking and applying it to your everyday life?
I'll say it like this. The way I think, and I'll ask them because they have a similar process from what my experience is. I think if you give yourself a choice, even though we all know you have choices in life, I think if you wake up and you give yourself a choice to do the thing that's easier, a lot of times you're going to take that choice if you give that to yourself as a choice in your head. It's like I take certain things off the table and I do a lot of self-talk. And for me, it's like I do things for very specific reasons, or I'm not going to be driven to do it.
Right.
Would you agree with that, Scoop?
Yeah.
If I'm not driven enough to continue to do it at a high level, or a level that's growing along the way, I leave it to somebody else. When I listen to music, being an artist, that's I've done it, but there's people who are more passionate about it. It's like a ball player who goes to the league. That guy is playing for something different than the man who just goes and enjoys it and has fun.
Right.
There's something different in why he's doing what he's doing.
Right.
And I think for me, that's how I feel about growth and solution-based thinking, because there's through these movies and through these projects, there's a bigger vision in mind, because I personally want to talk to some of those societal issues that other people are not able to discuss, or uncomfortable discussing, or don't have a platform to discuss in other venues. Have you ever noticed that in movies you can paint pictures that other people are offended by, you can try to talk about them, that other people are disgusted by, but if you do it in a movie, it's a character, and secretly somebody knows somebody who's like that character, and then they relate to it.
That's good.
So it's like, okay, so why can we talk about the movie, but we can't talk about the issues?
Right. So now, and I talk about you being a workhorse because, like I said, you already have a lot of work out. Kind of drop some of the accolades for the people, so that way they can go back and try to, just look at your palette of work. I had a chance to do transition talk, and we had an amazing conversation.
Sure.
Go ahead and get the people all of the many things and shows and movies that you've already been a part of, so they can kind of get acclimated to what you got going on.
I'll give you a little bit, but again, I'm not gonna say too much, because I still want people to do the research. Because unfortunately, when you give people too much, they take it for granted. If I tell you everything to know in one interview, you ain't gonna listen no more.
For sure.
That's just the truth.
For sure.
If you talk about what you did for 10 years and then they ain't got nothing else, he ain't did nothing in a year.
I like that.
Like,
I like that.
Like, bro, like, no, follow me, follow the music mixtape weekend. I use it as a plug because I want to see people think, because people watching, they got fans. That's not fans. That's viewers. Okay.
Ooh, talk.
I don't think that I have a bunch of fans. I have a lot of viewers. I have a few fans, and I have some people who are, some real good supporters, like Blaze, but again, they're doing their own thing because they're workers. It's easy to support. I support them. They support me because they work, and they consistently work. And those are the people who you want in your circle. These are the people who you want in your camp. And I had to get that off my chest because, again, me saying what I've done, I want to leave people with homework because I want people to understand that for the most part, people don't know your story, And if you don't know a person's story, you're not gonna care about a person's story.
That's good.
So
Right.
for me, I want you to know the story, but I don't want you to know the story because I told it all at once.
Right.
I want you to do the research. Again, this is the beginning of something. There's two. I'll say this. There's 2 movies that have been made this year. We're doing a back-to-back on a week from today. Music Tour Life, which has some very talented people, hard-working people involved. B Blaze is in it, and Vibes SVG is in it. ABR is in it.
Let's
and,
go.
You know, these guys have traveled.
Ain't Haifa in there too?
Not in this
Not
one.
in that one?
Not in this
Okay.
one. No, not on this one, because this is an in-depth. Again, give me the sign, man. I want to get to see what it is, because this is the stuff that you want to understand. Because the things I was talking about earlier, the stories and the reason it is needed to get to the next level. A lot of people don't want to get to the next level, but they don't want to tell you they don't want to get to the next level. They want to use up the glow, the thing that makes it shine. You know how you get a new car and it smells a certain way when you first get it, and then everybody get in the car and then the smell change?
Yeah. Or you start seeing them bitches everywhere.
Listen,
lose that value
Yeah.
of that shine that you. Oh, I'm the
Yeah.
only one with it.
right. Now the thing is, a car can look and smell new for a long time if you take care of it. If you don't use it too much, if you don't take it for granted, and you come to a point where you have an opportunity to trade it in. And what ends up happening is how you take care of it makes it worth more or worth less when it's time to do something else. And what happens is, when it's time to trade in these old values, this old work ethic, to take it to the next level, which means a new, improved work ethic and a new, improved perseverance and passion, people say, okay, well, I'm just gonna stick with the old car.
Yeah.
I'm just, because I'm used to the car.
I'm used to that. I know this already.
You're too comfortable.
It smells like me. Now, real truth, it don't smell like you. It smells like everybody who around you.
Right. Ooh, that's
really
good.
what it is.
That's
really,
good.
because you
That's
ain't been
good.
riding that car by yourself. So, but you know how they say, surround yourself with successful people
Right.
or hardworking people, and that's gonna rub off.
Right.
And what happens is, people want to get in the car, and as soon as they see a shinier car or a better smelling car, they want to get out and get in there. But the smell is behind.
Now, when we talk about clear vision, I imagine you have like a standard set for clear vision. What is the standard for clear vision?
Well, clear vision. Clear is an acronym. Okay, so it actually, people who don't know this, 2020 Vision was the first movie project that I worked on, but through a series of learning experiences and pretty much learning how difficult it is to make films, I had to triple down on the message and the dedication and the work ethic, because 2020 Vision, that's pretty good, but there's a vision that's better than 2020 Vision, and it's clear vision. People who can see clear is not based on sight. It's based upon seeing something that's not based in front of you, and that's based upon faith.
Hey.
So you have to see beyond what's in front of you, and there's a lot of people who ain't willing to do that. And once they see it's not going to benefit them as much as they possibly have thought, their vision, their 2020 vision, or whatever vision it is, it sets its sights on something different. This clear vision thing is not that. It's an acronym. I'm gonna make y'all look that up, what it means. But again, each letter means something powerful. Think about, Goody Mob. That stood for something. You know what I'm saying? The good die mostly over you know what.
You know what?
Exactly. When you have clear vision, it's principles that you have to have about having clear vision. It's not just based upon what's in front of you. what's shining and what smells good.
Okay, when we talk about you know, the brand as a whole, Clear Vision, the brand, would you say that you grasp inspiration from everything around you, or you kind of had this Clear Vision thing set and you are your own inspiration in this shit?
I wouldn't say I'm my own inspiration, because I think inspiration is everywhere. But I'll be very honest with you, I don't do this because of inspiration. I do this because of purpose. You get to choose your purpose in this life. And if you don't choose a purpose, somebody will choose to make you a worker for theirs.
That's good.
Yeah.
Who would you say in the city that has had a big hand in kind of putting some of this together?
But they sitting to the left and to the right. I mean, that's first and foremost. I would say Quote, L Quote here. He's on.
Shout out my nigga Quote, man. Congratulations on the baby too,
absolutely,
bro.
Absolutely. You know, and it becomes very difficult sometimes, to be very honest, because people grow in different directions based upon responsibilities, and you have to let people grow in a direction to where when they grow back, it's like a family member, like how you think about homecoming, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
People have different things going on. You have to go off, do your thing there. When you come back, you know, the thing is stronger because it's a homecoming situation, because people have to do them. And, you know, with Quote, he had, you know, he has a child and he has a lot of different things going on. Shout out to Theo Lodge. They got a powerful connection. They got a powerful thing going on. And I think one of our jobs as people is to encourage people to grow in their direction. So when you link back together, that spider web of success can be that much more powerful.
Hey yo, this nigga been dropping jewels this whole motherfucking interview, bro. Like he been putting extra on the answer. You know what I'm saying? Like my nigga been giving it to me. Where can we see Clear Vision 5 years from now? What are some of the expectations that you have for the company?
I'll tell you one.
That's all I'm gonna get is one?
I'll tell you one.
God damn.
I'm gonna tell you one, because everybody watching, man. And that's the thing about it. People watch you to see if you do what you say you're gonna do. And one thing I learned, especially
that's good right there, boy. Oh shit.
Yeah. One thing I learned from 2020, like, because obviously, you know, it was a movie, the hype was through the roof, and people say in their mind and don't have to put in the work. They just have expectations based on the idea of how it looks in front of them. They don't care about your process. And the honest truth be told, until you produce the product, they don't really care about aspects of it that they should, which is mental health. Because people go through things to try to do stuff for people, not for themselves. And I think for people who don't think of other people and think of themselves first all of the time, it's very difficult for them to grasp that concept that certain people will do things that don't benefit them directly, consistently, to lift other people up, just to prove it can be done, so people work more closely together and make Tampa specifically a larger force to be reckoned with, so we can start talking about commerce and not just about shoes, guns, drugs, and stupid.
So I'm kind of glad you brought that up in regards to, you know, just those aspects of the conversation when we talk about how much the process is and how much, you know, people can take so many things for granted when it comes to this shit, because all it takes is for one thing to pop and you fucking out of here. Do you feel like at some point in time that you were kind of blackballed in the city, or
Nope.
you feel like some people just didn't fuck with you
Nope.
in the city?
Nope. I ain't gonna give nobody that kind of justification. I don't think that way. I'm not making. And whoever is watching, I make excuses for nothing, because I'm not going to excuse myself. So if I'm not going to excuse myself, I ain't gonna give nobody enough power to slow me down in my thought process. Solution-based thinking. I will not sleep until I have a solution for what the better move is about something. Now, it might not be the popular decision, but it's the decision I can live with.
Yeah.
That's how I roll. I don't have a choice the way I think.
Yeah.
So no, nobody ever got me off track. The track that I am on is God driven.
You hear that, niggas?
So it's not based on what somebody did or didn't do.
That's real. That's real.
So look, we getting ready to wrap it up. Let's talk about this music tour life real quick before we get out of here.
Yes, sir.
Now, I definitely would love to be a part of this. Just hearing your vision and everything that you have going on, I would definitely love to be some type of instrument in your success.
You here. So I mean, obviously this voice and your platform that contributes to people underestimate the power of their voice because they're not used to being heard. So for me, I recognize when we had our conversation, you have a voice in the city. Regardless if people like or dislike your voice, it's a voice. So it's a voice that people talk about. So good or bad and different, it's got to be relevant for it to be coming out your mouth. So you got to deal with it. You got to check in and have conversations about it. So there's a consistency there within that in itself. So I recognize that and appreciate that. And you don't have to like everything. I think people are they're just so caught up in having to like something.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, a lot of that is like you can't even have an opinion anymore. Like, it's considered hate. Like, you can't even like. You say, nah, I don't really like that. Man, this nigga hating. Nah, I just don't like it.
Yeah.
You know, you're not gonna like everything everybody does all the time. You know what I'm saying? So, before we get out of here, is there anybody that you want to just really give some flowers to? Is there a group of individuals you want to give some flowers to? Also tell the people how they can find you. Tell them about everything that you got getting ready to come up other than Music Tour Life, but give us the real. Tell us everything we need to know about Big Business.
Well, I'll start with what you need to follow. Because again, it's important to know where to find additional information about someone's story. If you don't know a person's story, you're not going to appreciate the work that they put in. So the social media handles, Instagram is Big HLW. The reason I breathe like it because I know I'm opening up the floodgates and people jumping in my box talking about they want to be a part of what I'm doing.
Yes,
it don't work
sir.
that way.
You know it.
I'm just.
Yo, you do movies, cuz?
Yeah, don't.
Hey,
it
I
don't
used
work
to
that
be in the
way.
play.
Put me on.
Put me on.
Yeah,
I know how to act.
It's not. It's not. And again, that reminds me of the music phase. You know, they see you on stage do a great performance, and as soon as you get off the stage, they want you to hop on the track for free.
Yes, sir.
That's not what this is.
Oh shit, he
Do
finna
a
get in his
That's
bag.
not what I had to say that because again, when you spend thousands and thousands upon dollars, you spend years, 10+ years developing a name, developing a brand, developing more than one brand. When it comes to Transition Talks, that was a brand. What's Real Hip Hop, the first hip hop with a studio audience in Tampa.
Talking shit.
When you talk about this movie making, like trying to build with brothers like B Blaze, who's been there the entire way for
Shout
at least
out
the past
Blaze,
5
man.
years.
Shout out the whole Flow Flame. You feel me?
The microphone and the engineering behind the voice of what
Go!
I've been producing for at least the past 3 years. Shout out to Chad, Brian Tyson. There's a lot of people who I could actually say, and I'm gonna be honest with you, just inbox and let's have a conversation before you jump into a situation. Because it is big business, and you know, especially in these times, you have to be very intentional about relationships, and you can't have relationships if we don't relate.
Definitely gotta be selective.
So Facebook, Lee Wood, Herb Wood, like WOULD. Would you like to be a part of something bigger than yourself? Lee is my first name, it's my middle name, and Herb is my first name. So it's almost like you're asking yourself a question. You know, what would happen if you gamble on you?
My nigga been dropping just jewels, just bang,
What's up?
bang, bang. Hey, look, man, I definitely appreciate both. Look, this shit here, I learned a lot, just in regards to how you think, bro, and the way you choose and pick with people who you work, the things you do, how you do it is very meticulous. Like, you really have like this madman science about you. It's very intriguing. And you're super calm, you're cool, you're collected, you're always, you know what I'm saying? Like, even when against all odds, you still the same. You don't change at all. You know, and that's very a great characteristic to have in this business. Just not only just in entertainment, just period, but definitely in entertainment, because if it's hard to read you, that mean a nigga can't get over on you, because a lot of niggas just pay attention to your body language.
Sure.
They'll know if they got a gopher. They'll know if a nigga really don't know what he talking about. Like, but you, like I said, big business fits the title because you mean fucking business. Like, there is no gray area with you. Like, it's black, it's white. You know, you either take it or you leave it. And I think that's the biggest misconception about you, is people think, one, that you're unapproachable. You know what I'm saying? But if they get to know you, they just know you mean fucking business. Like, you not finna come over here with this fuck shit and talk my motherfucking ear off and try and tell me anything. So before you step to me, step correct. And you give that step correct vibe, my nigga. Like, and that's gonna take you a long way in this shit, because I've seen it since day one. Like, you gotta have your shit together when you approach me. So definitely don't change, bro. Like, I definitely appreciate you coming through, sitting down. Like I said, we got a lot of jewels, bro. School, you my man, and 50 grand. Blaze, you already know the motherfucking vibes, man. Bruh, make sure y'all go and download the app, TR 808 Underground Radio. Make sure y'all go and follow the app. We play shit every day. We also have our Say Less podcast. So if you want to come in, sit in, and have a session on the Say Less podcast, come through and fuck with your boy. Also, if you have any new music, singles, albums, projects, EPs, mixtapes, fuck with your boy. We put them on the radio and let people check them bitches out. We have over 90,000 fans, man. Again, it's Chris Jackson, Prince Up Top, last real nigga alive, big business, school, B-Blaze, let's fucking go.
Let's go.
Check out Music Tour Life Weekend. It's on Instagram. Add it, follow it. You'll see what we've been talking about this journey. This journey's been going on for over a year. The movie's out, the mixtape's out, made in Man Cave Studios. Check it out. I guarantee you're gonna be impressed.
Let's fucking go.
Let's
Hey,
go.
boy.